Hi Ian, I know it's been a while, but I wanted to create a video because I had inspiration from a documentary that we saw last night. If you haven't seen it yet, you should definitely watch Dreams with Sharp Teeth, and definitely either rent it or buy it, because Harlan Ellison will come down and personally kill you. I'm not kidding about this. This title is not a joke. Pay the writer. Anyway, he got me thinking about TV as a medium and the difference between television and movies. Now, I do see a distinct difference between television and movies. TV is this ongoing thing that just it's like a distraction device. It continues on and on forever and ever and ever and ever. Movies are encapsulated into this one thing. And so you can say, yes, I saw that movie the other day and it was fantastic. Or you can remember a movie you saw 10, 15 years ago. Most of the time you don't really remember whether you saw an episode of a specific show. There's a lot of different commentary on TV and criticism about the medium, saying that it's garbage or it's junk food or that it has no real artistic value and stuff like that. Television is designed to distract, designed to go on until it's canceled. It's not limited to a specific medium, a specific idea. And in that way, it's really just designed to turn off your brain, turn off your senses. A lot of people discuss radio and talk about how grand it is and how, the old radio plays and shows were fantastic because you use your imagination. The same thing with reading a book or listening to music because it engages a different part of your brain. If I'm listening to a radio play or reading a book, I can think about, imagine what the characters look like. I can have my friend Frankie here talking to Philip. And they look exactly like this because that's how I'm picturing them in this particular story. And they're doing whatever they're doing, but I'm imagining it's coming from my head, and it's just as valid as if it's something was happening in actual real life, or real life as far as the story is concerned. One of the things that I've noticed about television is that people talk about television all the time, because one of the things that people like talking about the most is other people. And this sort of gives them sort of an imaginary reality, something that's happening on a daily basis that they can keep up with. They can say, who did what with who and how this interacted with that person. With a movie, you can analyze it, you can dissect it, you can talk about the composition, cinematography, you can talk about, what the director's styles were. Generally, we're not talking about an ongoing series or something that is meant to replace sort of, real life. I guess with me, what I've realized is that our lives are the real story. Our lives are the things that are actually happening. And what our interactions with other people and our experiences and the things that we choose are the most important things, not necessarily what happens on a small set that you're watching every single day. If you lead a productive life, or you're doing things constantly, you're constantly pursuing things that you want, you're constantly pursuing things that you're interested in, I found it actually difficult to go back to television and pay attention to what was going on. I now have cable service, and it's sort of the box I rarely turn on. I don't really, I think about turning it on, and I imagine myself watching a television show, but I don't really make the time because I'm honestly too busy doing other things for the most part. Harlan Ellison was also talking about creativity, and sort of once you hear the song, or once you hear the piper, you can't not hear it. You have to follow it. Whether it be a musician, painter, writer, whatever, it seems like if you have the creative need or urge to create something, if you're not created, some part of you is missing, or you're miserable. It's like it's nagging at you. It's constantly there. It's never in remission. It doesn't matter what you do, how many years you leave aside, you're always going to want to do that one thing. I kind of imagine creativity, or your muse, or your outside force is almost like your mom coming into your room telling you to clean it up every single day and you ignoring it. Why did you clean your room? Oh, they're never going to stop nagging you, and they're never going to let up on this. And the creativity is the same way. It's always knocking at your head constantly. I think about the struggling artists or the tormented artists, and most of those people I see are the lazy artists. The people that hear the call and they hear what they have to do, but they're just ignoring it. But they're still tormented by it, constantly smacking them in the back of the head, or side of the head as I'm doing now, since I clearly don't know where the back of my head is. I personally believe that creativity is a natural sense. It's a natural state of being. It's something that everyone has to do. It's something that is a part of us. Now, whether you choose to paint something, draw something, design something, manage something, or even start a family, start a life, do it socially, I'm not discounting that. I think it's a very valid thing to want to have a family, but that's a form of creation. You're doing something, you're adding something to your universe. You're not simply observing, you're not simply an outsider. Getting back to television, a lot of what television does is it just sort of turns off our sense of creativity and allows TV to go on and on and on and live our lives for us, or live an imaginary life that we can see happening in our head. So it's a distraction device. It takes out the sense of imagination. It tells us what to think for us. We then begin to have a new sense of normality. And that normality is of observation, of inactivity, and of distraction. Because of the amount of things that I'm doing, I simply don't have enough time in the day to actually watch TV. And when I choose to watch TV, it's usually something that's either a mini-series or something that's an end to it. Then again, I do have a pretty bad addiction to House. That might have something to do with a Hugh Laurie fetish, but I'm not about to delve into that right now. When you're listening to music, you're feeling something or associating something, or maybe you have pictures in your mind, or maybe it's just giving you a blank state of mind in which you can just flow with what's happening. But it engages you. It engages you in a way that television doesn't. It also has an end to it. I think it's important that things have endings so that we can then go back and look at them. Otherwise, they have no value. If things just went on and on forever and had no distinct ending and were designed just to propagate themselves into infinity, then we wouldn't learn anything, we wouldn't grow, we wouldn't experience anything new. Now, this is sort of a hyperbolic statement on what television actually does, because again, I think there's good television and there's bad television. But the main point is that television is designed to never end. Well, that's all I have for you right now in my mind, and I'm sure I can expand on this idea a little bit better, and if I had a little bit more coffee in my system, I'd probably be a little bit more articulate. See you in the future!